Yo guys, welcome back. It's Sunday, which means another 5 metas every pro should know Sunday. And we're covering New Zealand today, which New Zealand, very interesting country, very beautiful country as well. But definitely like long verticality wise, I guess. So it definitely helps to distinguish between North and South Island because on big multis there is possibilities for bigger points. And I think it's a very interesting country to cover because Brainy did so much work, and the rest of the New Zealand community did so much work in researching New Zealand. And Brainy is like probably the best New Zealand player in the world, sans Derzigi, of course. I would still say Brainy's the GOAT, better than Derzigi, but anyway. Um, yeah, he's done a lot of research and he's created the ultimate guide to New Zealand. So I messaged him. I asked if I could pull a couple metas from there, and he said, sure, definitely. And I'll be leaving the link to the ultimate guide to New Zealand down below. It's very well made. It's in a PowerPoint presentation. He labels it by which are most important, as to which some are more niche, of course. So I think it's definitely very interesting, and you guys should definitely check it out. Hopping into our first meta today, we're going to be talking about Holey Poles. So Holey Poles, as you guys know, you'll find them all over Southland. I think this is like the main part in which you find it. And by Holey Poles, I mean kind of like these poles that you'll see in like Romania or Hungary or Poland, with like holes in the middle here. So you'll see it a lot in Southland. Here are two good examples. And the last one we do have in Otago as well. So there's some Otago spill, but mostly found in Southland. So like if I'm not sure and I'm trying to hedge here, I'm probably just clicking like this area of Southland here with these Holey Poles. And we're sure it's Southland, by the way. We have to make absolutely 100% sure that it's Southland before sending here, because these Holey Poles do exist on the North Island, although they are much more common, I think, in Southland. And by Southland, I mean here. And then Otago is the next province over. All right, and then another places you can find it is on the North Island. So if we're talking about North Island, they can be found in Auckland, the city itself. So you do get them occasionally. Not every pole is going to be a Holey Pole. Like you'll get some like Chile style poles, but like some Holey Poles and just some rounded poles as well. So just a mixture and variation of poles in Auckland. And the other example here, couple Holey Poles lined up in a row. So they're quite common in Auckland, and usually a good guess. If you think it's like a huge city in New Zealand and you see some Holey Poles, I think Auckland's always a good shout. The other place here is in Taranaki. So Taranaki on the western part of North Island here. Here are a couple examples just around Egmont. And usually if you see these Holey Poles, you can usually see Egmont. There's Egmont right there to the south. Huge volcano, so it's pretty impossible to miss unless it's a very cloudy day when they took the coverage. But yeah, if you see this and you're playing like no move, can look for Egmont, of course. And, if it's there, then you know exactly how to line it up and where to send. And here's another example. This one, Egmont, is a little bit more obscured by the clouds, but you can tell it's an absolutely massive mountain, but we do have a Holey Pole here as well. And then the last place here that we're talking is Hawke's Bay. Hawke's Bay, all the way on the eastern part here, and this is like Napier, Hastings area. So in Hastings, here's a couple examples. Like this one's actually painted white at the bottom, similar to a Romanian pole. And yeah, you can see these pretty commonly in some cities, and just out in random parts here. And we do have a Holey Pole here in Hawke's Bay as well. So those are the three main parts of the North Island. We have it in pretty much Auckland City proper, this area around Mount Egmont in Taranaki, and then like this part of Hawke's Bay, basically. Because most of the Hawke's Bay coverage is here. There's very rare coverage here. And then obviously Southland and Otago. So if you see Holey Poles, you know to either guess here or like these three parts of the North Island. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Looks like you aren't subscribed. If you guys are enjoying the video, don't forget to subscribe and also give the video a like. It would really help me out. I appreciate you all, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. All right, next we're going to be talking about vineyards. So vineyards can be found in multiple places in New Zealand. I kind of went over like a little bit when I talked about the Marlborough possum guards. in a previous 5 Metas Every Pro Should Know video. But yeah, they're also found on the North Island as well, and down here. So let's talk about the Gisborne one first. You can find them in Gisborne, wherever there's like a flat valley, and good soil conditions. So Gisborne is a proper candidate here. So we do have 2 vineyards around here. And then 2 vineyards in Hawke's Bay. Once again, big place probably where they store the wine casks and stuff. And in Hastings as well. Look at this huge factory. So Hawke's Bay, Gisborne, and then obviously the Marlborough ones. So like up here as well, even here. But the main wine region, I would say, is this Marlborough area around Blenheim. So a lot of wine here. If you just zoom in, there's like tons of wine POIs, tons of vineyard POIs. And then also you do get some wine out here near Richmond and Nelson. So some wine here as well. I mean, this is like pretty tough location, I would say, overall. But yeah, some there. And then there's some down here outside of Cromwell and Alexandra. So you do get some here. And this is like a much drier looking hill climate, I would say, compared to the others. As you can see, like this is like a bit more green. I mean, it obviously does depend on when you're taking the coverage. But like I would say this is probably quite recognizable compared to other parts. Because, you won't get as many snow-capped mountains and just dryness and then mountains all around like this. This just looks like South Island, doesn't it? So, yeah, going over it again. These are pretty much the 5 places in which you can get wine. So we have the around Gisborne area, Hawke's Bay, Marlborough, around Richmond here, and then down here near Wanaka in Otago. All right, next we're going to be talking about pole markings. I didn't include all of the pole markings that you can possibly get in New Zealand. I think this is pretty important though for region guessing, and it's definitely very helpful. I only included the ones that Brainy kind of labeled as useful. So if you want to see all of them, you can go check out the Ultimate Guide to New Zealand, which is in the link down below. So yellow tag wise, you do get them a lot in Gisborne. It was like previously known as Gisborne tag, like these yellow tags is what I'm talking about here. But you can find them elsewhere. You find a little bit here in Hawke's Bay, a couple of yellow tags around here. And then also you do get it on the South Island in some places. So some in Westport, for some reason, I don't know why, just random Westport yellow tag there. And then some in this area down here near like Otago, I guess, or not. This is not Otago. I mean, this is Otago. And then there's some here as well, across the border in Canterbury. So yeah, yellow tag there as well. There is allegedly some tags like north part of Southland, but I couldn't find one. But according to the map, there should be. So if you do see one, I guess you can't really rule this out, but it is a little bit more niche and rare. But like these are the main points in which you can find it, and you should use other clues along with the yellow tag, of course, to help you make the region guess. All right, next we'll go into the vertical plus the square sticker meta. And here's what I'm talking about when I say this. This is found pretty much everywhere in the North Island. These are 3 examples here. So by vertical, I mean like a 6-digit number usually, with this little like black detached square. Thing. I guess it's more of a rectangle, but like square technically. I mean, no need to get into technicalities there. But yeah, everything starting with a 4 or 3 is going to be North Island, and then the South Island will have an 8, which I'll show examples of later on. But yeah, you can see here's a 4 example here, and another 4 as well. So yeah, these are found, these tags are not on every pole, not even close, but they are found on some poles, and they're very helpful if you like are deciding between North Island and South Island. These tags are very useful because it'll be a 3 or a 4. And then South Island will have the 8, barely make out the 8 there. Here's probably a better view of the 8 with the detached sticker. So they're pretty much only found in Otago and Southland. These, I don't think we've seen them anywhere else of the South Island. So if you see one of these tags and you've seen 8, you should only be guessing Otago Southland, and then 3 and 4 could be anywhere in the North Island. All right, next we'll go into the vertical 5-digit meta. So this is found like kind of a weird map, to be fair. But by vertical 5-digit, I just mean like the same kind of like sticker paint that we saw in the vertical plus square thing. But this is only going to be 5 digits, and it's not going to have that square thing at the bottom. So this is a 5-digit one in like north of Auckland here. This is one in Taranaki. We have the 5-digit one here. I don't know if this one really qualifies, but it is 5 digits because we have a T at the end, which is a bit interesting. But they are found in Taranaki and then sometimes around Gisborne, according to the map. But you can see the map in the PowerPoint in the description down below. Here's a 5-digit one here near Nelson. And this 5-digit one is pretty much found along this west coast here. And then occasionally in this area in Canterbury here, like Timaru, Waimate area. So you will find one here, for example. And then also here's an example in Waimate with the 5 digits. So pretty much on the North Island, it should be like north of Auckland, and then very rarely in Gisborne and Taranaki. And then on the South Island, it's going to be most of this west coast here, and then this area around Timaru and Waimate. All right, next we've got the vertical 6 digit. So this one is actually quite useful because there's only one spot on the North Island that you can get it, and that's going to be Manawatu, which is this area here. So here's a good example. 6 digits here, and it starts with a P. It'll always start with a P if we're in Manawatu, and like you should always be guessing in this area here if you see the 6-digit tag with the starting of P. This is not to be confused with the 6-digit tag with the square at the bottom, because that's different, but this will always start with a P. And then on the South Island, it can be found in a few places. So Marlborough's the main place that you'll find it in the north part of the South Island. So here it starts with a 3. So if it starts with a 3, it'll be Marlborough. And then 0, 1 through 12. So this one starts with a 0, 5. This one starts with a 0, 9. So 0, 1 through 1, 2 starting numbers will always be Southland. And then the 13 through 17 starting numbers will be Otago. So this is right across the border in Otago. So we do have pretty good meta here, and I think it's pretty useful. I feel like these numbers are quite rare, though, but if you do see it, it's definitely very helpful for you and easy for you to get the region, I would say, because it tells you the specific region based on the number code on the pole. All right, the last thing that we're going to be talking about is the warning sticker here. So these are only found on a couple places in North Island, so this area around Taupo, Hawke's Bay, once again, and then this area like south of Auckland. Not too sure what this area is called. I guess it's just Auckland, like, but it's only south of Auckland City, but in Auckland Province, I guess. So by warning sticker, I mean it's going to be white, black, white bars at the top, and then a white square or white rectangle at the bottom. So that's the warning sticker that you're looking for. And these are only found in these 3 specific places. So this area around Taupo, south of Auckland, and then Hawke's Bay. Show a few examples for the Taupo one. Looks exactly the same. But for some reason, they're only in these 3 places. And it's pretty helpful, I would say. Because, here's a Holey Pole as well in Hawke's Bay. But, yeah, this is pretty helpful for region guessing, especially like North Island stuff. Like, you can get a really nice guess down by clicking on one of these 3 places if you see it, and obviously using other clues alongside it. All right, for meta number 4 here, we're going to be going to metal fences. I've covered like long versus short fences, essentially. In short being North Island usually, and then long gaps being South Island. But metal fences are definitely the most useful, I think. And Brainy seems to think so as well. So like if you see metal posts like this, it'll always be South Island. Like 95% of the time, it'll be South Island. There is obviously that 5% of the time you get unlucky and it's North Island, but you should always use multiple clues when discovering, or when making your guess, basically. But like these metal posts are found everywhere in South Island. Here's probably the best view of it. This is what I mean by metal posts. Clearly not a wooden one, I guess, is the best way to describe it. But like any form of metal post will be in South Island 95% of the time. So this one's a very short and sweet meta, but definitely very helpful for those who are trying to differentiate between North and South Island. You can always look at a fence. And they won't be on every fence, of course, but they are, if you do see them, then you know you're in South Island. Pretty much. All right, our fifth and final meta here is no center line. And Brady says this is a surprisingly consistent meta. So in Gen 3, so I'm going to be splitting this up into 3 parts. We have the Gen 3 no center line. There's a Gen 2 and 3 no center line, which is found mostly in Gisborne. And that's where the term Gisborne lines has come up in the past. Because Gen 2 no center line, you always click Gisborne, usually. And then there is a Gen 4 situation in which you do see Gen 4 no center line, but that's quite rare. Can be shown in Auckland as well, but mostly in this area that I'll show you. So Gen 3 no center line, very rare instances, but you'll find them all the way out here on this little peninsula here, east of Wairoa. And yeah, you have the water here, so it's like, it's pretty easy to line up, but I guess you know exactly where to scan for to start. And then also this area around Wellington that does still have some Gen 3, you will get some roads without a center line in it as well. So those are the Gen 3 places, this area around Wellington, and then this peninsula east of Wairoa here. And then Gen 2 and 3, we're talking about the Gisborne lines. So this is where the term no center line, Gisborne line came from. No center lines a lot in Gen 2 here. Here, there's copious amounts of examples. Just no center lines in any of the Gen 2 coverage. And a lot of it in Gisborne is Gen 2. Here's a good Gen 3 example as well. This is Gen 3, as you can see, no center line once again. And yeah, just a lot of Gen 2 examples. Not as many Gen 3 examples, but they do exist. Like here as well. No center line once again. Very thin road, but once again, no center line. So this is Gen 2 and 3, no center line usually. And then the last one is Gen 4 no center line, and that's pretty much these roads going up to Egmont. So a lot of, not the entire road. As you can see here, this is also no center line. But as you move further down, you will get a center line. But as you're driving up to Egmont and Mount Taranaki, you will get no center line on a lot of these roads. This road, I think you do get a center line pretty much consistently throughout. Yeah, I mean, this one looks pretty consistent. You're seeing a center line on these, but on these two, it does disappear as you get closer to Mount Taranaki. So definitely check those out as well in the JSON. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up. So hopefully the no center line meta was helpful for meta number 5. All right, guys, thank you guys for watching another 5 metas every pro should know video, New Zealand edition. If you guys have any questions, leave it down in the comments below. I'm sure I'm happy to get to them. And definitely check out the New Zealand Discord, as well as the Ultimate Guide to New Zealand, which I'll both be leaving in the description down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, of course. And I'll see you guys next Sunday for another 5 metas every pro should know video. Peace.